With tonight's special guest, Platformer.
Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome back to the #1 podcast for all things Halloween.
I'm Brick Thunder.
I'm Tyler G.
And I am Savannah.
So today we have an awesome episode coming up. We have some new podcast news that is very exciting. We have our first super special guest. And we also have some personal news. Yeah, Savannah, drum roll, please. I actually dropped the first out of 3 animatronics today.
Very awesome. Tell us
Let
about
me
it.
talk about some stuff. What order do we want to start with? What do we want to go over first?
First let's talk about the all of the feedback and support we got from our first episode.
Oh yeah.
Let's do that. So the podcast was a hit here on YouTube. It's now been on every single podcast platform you can imagine. And we were very impressed by the statistics we were seeing. Brick was actually talking to me and was very surprised that people actually download podcasts. He's like, wow, I can't believe people are downloading an hour MP3 to their iPod Nano.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. The amount of support is awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, seriously.
It's amazing to see how many people actually subscribed right away. And we also have an Instagram, which was gaining popularity very fast too. So thank you guys so much. And like he did say, we've made some posts now with links to all of the different sites. So if you don't want to watch it on YouTube, you can listen to it too. And we are basically on every major platform.
So you might be listening to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or one of those strange ones that a lot of people don't really know about, but you might be listening to us on that one too. Welcome, everybody.
Okay, let's seriously take a minute to talk about Brick's brand new releases. The brand new Kane animatronic. Brick, you want to take it from here? You know the most about it. This is all about you, man.
Yeah, sure. So since last year, I've been working with Halloween costumes on designing 3 different animatronic decorations. So the first one did release today as we're filming this, and that was Kane. So Kane is a mutated candy clown. He's got candy corn coming out of his face, and he's got those huge candy cane arms. So that's a really cool one. I think this is definitely one of my favorites, probably my second favorite of the 3. The next release should be coming up very soon, hopefully within the next few weeks. And then we have a later release in probably sometimes mid-August. But yeah, I definitely am happy with how Kane came out. And yeah, what do you guys think?
I have some questions. So first, what made you, because from my understanding, you designed this. I know that you collaborated with them a little bit, but most of this was actually your baby, so to speak, right? You designed the concept of it and everything. So what was the inspiration to say, hey, you know what? I think candy would be a good theme, because so far we see a lot of animatronics holding candy, but this is one that's actually made from candy.
Yeah, made of candy. Well, clowns are definitely a very popular topic in Halloween now. And that is kind of a newer thing. Yeah, Savannah, for example. But yeah, that's kind of a newer thing, and it's definitely building. So many people just love clowns now. So I thought I would make some clown props. The third one's not going to be, but the first 2 are. So with Kane, he actually stemmed from a mask I was working on. I do a lot of sculpting of masks, and one of my concepts was a clown with mutated candy features. He had candy corn coming out of the face and neck and areas like that. And that was pretty much the whole concept for him. So I thought I would turn that into an animatronic. Underworld Clown was actually a big inspiration for the arms. I love that creepy, unique, just weird arm shape where they're way too long for the body to be like human. Right. I think that gives it a really unique, natural, monsterish look instead of the natural human clown.
And real quick, you kind of glazed over this. Did I hear you say that 2 of these animatronics are actually going to be clowns?
2 are clowns, with the third not. But yeah, both of the first drops. The one I was saying in a few weeks Not 100% sure on that yet, but that is also a clown.
Nice.
No,
Yeah.
I really like the whole fact with this guy that he could work for both Halloween and Christmas. You could leave him up for 2 holidays.
Yeah, true.
I could see people having this. I could see people having this guy up with like their 12-foot skeleton. They throw a Santa hat on him, and look, now he's got his little cane elf or something. You know?
Yeah, totally.
Who needs a Christmas tree when you could have a cane?
Exactly.
Just saying.
Now, one thing that I also wanted to ask real quick about this, because when I saw this, I was absolutely blown away at the concept of inflatable arms.
That is something I wanted to mention too.
Yeah, where did you get that idea?
So we actually began with a blow molded arm idea. So that's what we were going to go with. And those would have probably just been connected down by the base, just like Underworld Clown. But instead, I thought it would be super cool if these huge candy canes actually moved. So instead of that, we were thinking maybe vacuum form. Vacuum form is usually a lot lighter. But best thing to do here is either foam or inflatable. Foam, I think, would have been hard to get that to look as good as this does. Yeah. So we went with inflatable. At first, they were thicker than this, but we scaled them down to be that thin candy cane, and I think they came out looking great. It's pretty hard to tell, especially from far back. Hard to tell that they are inflatable, and it's not like the Christmas inflatables, like where there's a constant fan blowing in the back. It's like, for example, our last podcast, the Spirit Halloween cotton candy cocoon. You inflate it either with your mouth or with a pump, and they stay like that. So
yeah, like a beach ball.
Yeah, like a beach ball or a swimming pool, stuff like that.
Halloween costumes should really sell those candy canes like separately, and you could make like a whole scene with it. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Sand weight them at the bottom so they could stand up.
Yeah.
And I want to also say, Brick, as someone that I consider all of us friends, and we're also at this point obviously doing this podcast partnership with each other. One thing I do want to say to you is that I don't know if the realization has kicked in for a lot of people of the door that you've kind of kicked down with doing such a large collaboration with a very large and profitable company, building your own animatronic. I think that opens up a door for a lot of home haunters to build up their reputation, to showcase their ideas, and possibly be able to partner with other companies in the future to bring their ideas to life.
Yeah, definitely.
Have you thought about the impact that, I know to you, it's like, oh, this is a cool idea, I get to make an animatronic, but have you thought about the impact that this could literally have on the history, or on the future of home haunters or haunt content creators?
Yeah, definitely. I think it could definitely help a lot. I think the idea of bringing someone who's in that field of actually running a haunt or running a channel about all these animatronics is definitely smart on Halloween Costumes' part. I think that was an awesome idea from them, and I definitely thank them so much for that opportunity. But yeah, I think it's great for both of us because they're going to get to see an idea that is kind of wanted by this side of the community. And it might not be something they would have thought of because they're on that producing side. So it's cool to bring those two sides together to get something that is good for everyone.
Yeah. I don't know how you ever find the time to do it because you do school, you do YouTube, you are now creating masks, animatronics, you're creating other pieces that you're selling at conventions. And I heard that you're also a wicked break dancer too.
I don't know about the last part, but yeah, I also do want to mention that both of these guys will be available at the convention, which is Midwest Haunters Convention. So if anyone is planning on going to that, that's in Illinois, June 10th through 11th. They will both be there for the first time live running at the show.
That's cool. That's cool. I'm looking forward to that. So that's in a couple weeks. And speaking of a couple weeks, we have been filling up our calendar for like the next 3-4 weeks with a whole bunch of special guests.
And we've got our first one here tonight. He's a filmmaker, a writer, a YouTuber, and a haunter. And of course, a part-time magician. Please welcome, for all things Halloween, Hauntformer.
The one and only Macaroni.
Welcome. Hello.
Hey, it's good to be here.
Right on, man. How
Yeah,
you
good to
doing?
have you on the show.
I'm great. I honestly didn't know that you three had collaborated on a podcast now, but now I'm gonna have to. Can you do you subscribe to a podcast? Do you follow a podcast? What's the term?
It
So,
depends on what site you're on.
Yeah,
Right.
it depends on the
Wait.
platform.
Yeah, we're on
Oh,
YouTube,
okay.
so you can subscribe there, but we're
Okay.
on all sites.
On
Spotify, I think, is
everything.
following.
Yeah.
YouTube's subscribing.
Okay,
It
well,
all
I'll
depends.
subscribe, follow, like.
And you can also do
Other
like Brick was saying,
things.
you can download it for some
Yep,
reason
you
if
can
you want to
download it.
archive a podcast for 40 years from now.
If I go
You
on an
never know.
airplane, it might come in handy
Yeah,
to
there
have
you
it
go. It might,
saved on my
yeah.
MP4 or MP3.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Pretty dope.
So how you been, man? How you doing?
I've been good. I've been really good. It seems like I don't know, this year, like Halloween stuff has approached faster.
Yeah.
Like it's come to us before. Like I remember like I don't know, a week into the new year, like the Limex little porcelain houses
Mhm.
already dropped, and then there was the cotton candy cocoon guy and distortion stuff. I mean, it's just been one thing after another, and then in no time flat, it's going to be summer and sneak peeks, and whoo, it's crazy.
Definitely.
Right.
There's
It's
a lot going on. There's a lot going on now, but I want to take a minute to go back and ask you, like, when did you what made you come up with your name?
That's a throwback. So Hot Former now is celebrating 10 years, which is pretty exciting. This summer
Wow.
will mark 10 years of my
Congrats.
channel. I started as
amazing.
I started as a little chicken nugget, a little Mac, and I grew up before your very eyes.
To a Big Mac?
Yeah, Big Mac.
Yeah, now I'm Big Mac. Yeah. Now at McDonald's. And when I started, I knew I wanted to do Halloween stuff, and my goal wasn't because back when I started, there wasn't like a haunter like YouTube community per se. It was just like a couple people doing like store tour videos.
Hmm.
But I knew that I wanted to see what was in the store, and I knew I would forget. So I started filming more so for myself, like just quickly like surveying aisles, like, oh, I need to remember what stuff was in the store. So I don't have to keep going back to freaking Michael's or Kmart or whatever.
Right.
But then I'm like, other people are watching this too. Other people are weird. And kind of Haunt Former was born, which originally was going to be called Haunt Maker, because the idea was that I make haunts. And it had my name in it because I was going to highlight Mac in
Oh,
Haunt Maker,
nice.
and it was taken. And so
Ah.
I'm like, Haunt Builder, taken. Haunt Creator, and then they just started getting really verbose and long. And so then I went back and I'm like Haunt Former, and it worked. So it kind of is weird because a lot of people don't even think of it like that. They think of it like former, like in the past.
Yeah.
But however they think of me, here I am,
It's
still
funny because
doing this.
I always looked at it as like informer. Like you're
Informer.
informing us
That's how I
Yeah.
look at it.
But now that
Yeah.
you're saying you did maker and builder and all that stuff, now it makes sense you were forming a haunt.
Yeah, now it's kind of like an entirely different thing. But yeah, Informer, I guess, technically too. I started a series called Haunt Informer to kind of bridge that gap. So it can mean whatever you want.
So, and now that we're kind of talking about the old school stuff, how did you get into the love of Halloween and haunting?
Well, when I was younger, my parents used to work at theme parks. So I've always had that kind of, I don't know, love for attractions and entertainment and like kind of novelty things. And when they would go to work at like these theme parks and stuff, I would stay at my grandma's house, and she would play like old Disney movies, but she only had two different I guess they were VHSs. Or were they
VHS tapes, yeah.
CDs? Yeah, and it was only the Mickey Mouse Christmas special and the Halloween one. And so I slowly became infatuated with Halloween. And like most kids have like a teddy bear when they sleep, I had a little skeleton, and I would sleep with it at night. And I think some of my teachers thought I was deranged because I would like sketch zombies and stuff at school, and they're like, I think your son needs to go in for like psychiatric counseling. My parents like, no, he just likes Halloween and Spirit Halloween and stuff. But ever since then, I had a love for creepy stuff. Come my birthday, I don't know, I must have been like 10. Started doing little haunted houses in my garage. They were really bad, but it was like a step in that direction where, hey, that's a fun thing because it's kind of like a ride at a theme park, except you just walk through it. And so it kind of spawned that from there. And then of course Spirit had a lot to do with that too.
And when did you get into spirit stuff?
Oh man. I don't know exactly when I first went. My earliest memories were, I do remember 2008. I believe that was the one with the big the mad scientist and his head would pop up and he would go and his brain. I remember him. I
One with
remember
the gigantic face.
Yes, the gigantic face guy. And I remember the guy that would like pull himself and he had no legs and he would scream. I remember how annoying he was, but I remember really liking him because I've always loved like zombies and stuff. And so that's the earliest memories, but I probably went before that. And the animatronics were kind of like a birthday treat because my birthday is in October. So I'm like, let's get Mac one animatronic for his birthday / Halloween. So it was like an annual tradition. Now, of course, I can buy all of them.
What was your first one?
I don't know if there was. I know the earliest prop I had was a rubber skeleton. It was a realistic looking rubber skeleton with like a legit rope hanging from its neck. There's probably pictures of it around online, but the first animatronic that I recall having was the Death Crawler, which was I think Spear Halloween 07 or 08, and it was the remote controlled zombie with no legs.
Yeah.
And he would crawl around. He was a throwback guy. I still have him. He's pretty busted up, but
I was gonna say, does he still work?
Yeah, he doesn't work anymore. I think I must have broken his arms because his arms just kind of limp like noodles. But it's fun to like have the memories associated with it. So that's kind of why I kept him around and for all these years.
we were talking on the last episode about how specifically how I feel with spirit props is you kind of get an emotional attachment to the character, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think that there's another company out there that really encapsulates that other than Disney, you know?
Yeah, really. It's weird how they've kind of become like the brand for Halloween stuff.
Right.
Because even now, like Home Depot's competing and Party City and all these other companies are competing, but there's something about like the Spirit stamp. I don't know how to explain it, but it just feels different.
It does.
Even though they're made by the same companies.
Right.
Yeah,
you know, it's really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I sometimes I wonder, is like, does Spirit get first dibs or something? You know what I mean?
They might. The only thing that I've noticed in recent memory that has come close to capturing that magic or hype is the 12-foot skeleton from Home Depot.
Oh yeah,
right.
Because that has a fan base almost of its own.
Yeah,
so,
it definitely does. We were talking about how that 12-foot skeleton, I kind of look at it like the 12-foot skeleton to Home Depot is like the jumping spider to Spirit. I don't think they're ever going to get rid of it, you know?
And they shouldn't. I mean,
it sells.
It's making them bank and everybody loves it. I think it's just so customizable. You can do really whatever you want to it.
Yeah, they started selling outfits for it and everything now, and it's crazy.
Real.
It's crazy.
Now, besides all of this haunting stuff, what other like hobbies are you into?
Well, other than haunting, I'm big into movies. I've always been big into movies, and I started doing filmmaking with my friends about 7-8 years ago. And because of that, I've found my love of writing, really. And so I write horror stories. That's kind of my biggest passion at the moment, aside from YouTube and besides Halloween. As I mentioned, I love like theme parks. I'm big into theme parks, both Disney, Universal. We even got Busch Gardens where I'm from. I don't know if you guys live near Busch Gardens. There's not many.
Yeah, I've been.
Yeah, but like roller coasters and stuff are fun. I do like building props, whether it's for a movie. Like my friend Jaden from Jaden's Videos recently made a movie. I built like a blood machine for a throat gash type of effect. So that was kind of fun to do. And then just watching movies. I'm like a religious watcher of movies. I'm at the theater like every week. So
What's your favorite horror movie?
ooh, that's a good question. That's a loaded question. But I think if I go with my gut, I think my favorite horror movie is The Exorcist. It's just
Ooh.
Classic.
it's just classic. I'd
Awesome.
say that and The Shining compete for best horror movie.
So my wife, who's our producer here, she is terrified of The Exorcist.
Really?
She actually freaked out because I had to sneak a DVD version of The Exorcist into the house. I could have swore that she was going to get possessed and rip my head off. But when you said it, she just looked. She's over on the other side. She looked over at me like
Mhm.
terrified from you just saying it.
Oh yeah, it's a messed up movie. It's freaky, but I don't know. It's got like really good characters in it, and it's got like a good story. And on top of it, it's just really freaking intense. It's very scary.
For me,
So-
like the ones that are more scary for me are stuff like that, or like Rosemary's Baby or something. You know what I mean? Where it's
Yeah.
just it's all this occult stuff, and you don't, you know, that stuff scares me. The slasher stuff, I'm like I'm wearing a Terrifier shirt right now.
Yeah,
I'm a fan of those. I enjoy them more.
right. They're a little more campy and kind
Right.
of fun versus like some of the possession stuff is like, oh, that's kind of real and it freaks me out.
Yeah, it's like it borders a line of like, "Ugh," you know, what's real and what's not in this film. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, that's
So,
true.
do you still do a home haunt nowadays?
I do. Well, actually, so this is kind of exciting. Not many people know about this. Last year, my I was presented with doing a haunt at a local farm, like a business, and I was busy with school and working on my. I'm in my master's program for school, and I'm like,
Right
you know
on.
what? I just don't know if I have the time to do it. But my friend Jaden, who lives nearby, Jaden's videos, I'm like, dude, you should pursue it because you love haunting too. And so he took the gig and started this thing called Fearville. But now that school's kind of taken a back seat for a little bit, I'm still doing it, but it's made it a little bit easier. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna join you this year. So now we're kind of like we're not doing the same haunt. We're doing two separate haunts, but it's at this farm.
Right.
So it's leveled up from being a haunt in the garage for like the past 10 years to now it's at a business where people are gonna like pay entry to like
Awesome.
go to it.
That's
So
amazing.
yeah, it's gonna be pretty different, I think. I'm looking forward to seeing how it turns out.
In doing your commercial haunt, are you relying more on actors, or are you relying still on props? And if it is props, do you still sneak a spirit prop in every now and then?
Oh yeah, of course. Like
Yeah.
the spirit stuff will always have a place in my heart. I mean, I do. I think my favorite company is probably Distortions. Their quality can't be topped,
Right.
Yeah.
and it's just the details amazing, and they're really creepy. But Spirit has some great stuff, and usually for the animated pieces, at least, there's a lot of a better value. Uh, but this year, I'm supposing that the actors are going to take forefront because Jaden's haunted house is a haunted house, like a legitimate inside attraction. I'm mixing up this year, and mine's actually a trail. So there's no covering to it. It's all out in the elements. So they're
Right.
going to be like set pieces with props, but then you like walk to the next one. So it's going to be interesting how it turns out.
Yeah, have
Do
a
you think
have a couple little scares in between the sets, and
Yeah,
That's
maybe
awesome.
chase some people down.
yeah.
Do you think you'd ever get like a big pneumatic animatronic, something like Poison Props, Scare Factory, Distortion, like anything like that?
I would love to. I have like a wish list of probably like 20 like professional props that I absolutely love. It's just a matter of getting to them
Right.
because I know
Yeah.
like Brick, you got Colossus. I'm
Mhm.
like kudos for you for going out and getting your like dream thing, you know? Because it's hard sometimes to like cough up the money
Oh,
to
Yeah.
get some of these
Especially
things.
when you're going to school, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And you have other things you're like, I really probably shouldn't. But sometimes
Right.
you gotta splurge a little bit, and some of this stuff's pretty awesome.
Oh,
And
yeah.
and sometimes even if you do a commercial haunt or if you do YouTube, it can pay itself back in the long run. But
Right.
So
to
let's
have it,
say you did have enough for anything you wanted. What would your dream one be?
ooh, that's tough. I'm probably gonna have to go with something from Distortions. Just a matter of thinking of what, because there's like a history of like so many.
Oh
And
yeah.
a lot of the ones that I'm well versed in are kind of their older ones. But if you know me, then this probably won't come as a surprise. But they used to have, and they probably still do, but it's probably a fortune. It's this UFO,
Yep.
and it hovers, and there's these little saucer men with ray guns and stuff. And when I remember watching that when I was like, I don't know, 7 years old, and just nerding out, like, how could anyone ever get that? So that'd be like a dream thing, the UFO, or
That
like
thing is incredible.
it's crazy.
Such a
It's
cool
So,
piece.
have you ever been to Roswell, New Mexico?
I haven't. It's on my bucket list though. I really
Okay.
want to.
So there is the I think they call it the international, or I'm sorry, intergalactical UFO museum or something like that. And they have a bunch of those alien props from Distortions in there.
Yes.
Yep.
It was a huge surprise when I went in there because I was doing a road trip and I went in there. I was like, oh my gosh, Distortions
Yes,
props.
Distortions.
It was super exciting. It's funny that I thought about that when you were bringing up the alien stuff.
And I probably watched clips of that museum like 20 times. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember that episode. I think there's an episode of Making Monsters on that.
Yeah. There
I
is.
remember
Yeah.
haven't
that
seen
show
it.
fondly. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's really cool to see their I mean, you've been there, so I mean, that's another thing I want to do is go to their warehouse and see how it all gets made. It's just
Yeah.
it's a cool process for sure.
And
It is.
and Brick, you've been there before, right?
Yep. Yeah. Oh, hold on.
He's
There we go. Yeah. I've been there and it's such a cool process. They have a great team of people. And their quality, like you said, is unmatched. They're so
Mhm.
good with it.
Now, do you think you would go to like Transworld or like I know you went to Flagship one year. Do you think you're going to go again this year?
I'd like to, yeah. And I mean, I saw some of you guys there, but there were like so many people that we were all
Mhm.
just getting like tossed around like we were
Yeah.
in the ocean.
so Tyler
Uh,
was actually the very first person in line.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Last year,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
You were
right.
there 2 years ago, right? You were there 2 years ago.
I was there, yeah, 2 years ago. First in line. So how long did you have to camp out?
Since Wednesday, so what was that, like
3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is
But it was
nuts.
fun. I would do it again. I'm gonna do it again.
Yeah.
It was definitely worth it. I had a great time doing it.
It was fun for him, but imagine he spent 3 or 4 days out there with no shower.
Oh man.
You know, so you got all these people
were
who were sitting
right.
there with oh my gosh, what
Need to
fog
bring some
sense did
Axe body spray.
yeah, what fog sense did Spirit
Yeah.
get this year? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
You were saying you'd do it again, Tyler? You'd be out there
Definitely.
3-4 days again?
Excited for this year. It's gonna be a blast. And we did have Evan's mom got a hotel, so we got to shower there.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Oh, well,
Nice.
that's
We weren't that bad.
So then you don't have an excuse for the way that you smelled it.
yeah, that was just all you.
It was pure adrenaline coming out of his pores.
Yeah.
The excitement, you know.
Yeah, he got to cut the ribbon with the mayor and a whole bunch of
Oh, that's dope.
craziness. Yeah, it was super cool.
Yeah, I think I was
40th anniversary. You should definitely try to make it down.
That's the
Yeah.
thing is
Mhm.
for
Definitely.
40th something big's gonna go down. So I just want to be there for that. Even if I can't get anything, even if I'm like number 400 in line, just to be there with
Yeah.
everybody. The
And-
energy
Cool
is so
experience,
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really
Yeah.
cool experience. One thing that I've learned about it is that when you go there, it's kind of like, okay, these are my people.
Hmm.
You can
Mm,
geek
yeah.
out about
Yeah.
these big robots, and everybody else is going to geek out about it too. But speaking of Spirit and all the 40th anniversary stuff, I'm assuming you saw their new little snippet trailer.
Hmm.
And did you see all the hidden stuff within that trailer?
I saw as much as I could. I'm not as fast on the draw like I used to
like
be.
we were.
Yeah, you guys are fast. GM Haunts is fast. There's a couple of YouTubers that are like really quick. I used to be quick, and I'm like, they're just gonna beat me to it anyway. I'll just
Watch
do
them.
something late. Yeah, I'll watch what they did and then just use that and then add on to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love what Spirit's doing with these little cryptic kind of teaser things.
Yeah.
It makes it more exciting,
Yep.
you know.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were
Do you think it's-
just. Go ahead, Tyler.
I was gonna say, what do you think of the stuff that's already released?
Well, I love Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Cotton Candy Cocoon. I've always wanted a Cotton Candy Cocoon. So I'm really looking for. I don't know. I don't think that's going to be in stores. I'm not sure, but
I
yeah,
think it's an online.
is it? I have the Cotton Candy gun too. It's dope.
Yeah.
Honestly, it could be something you could use as a costume accessory too. I didn't think of that, but like, because in the movie they carry around the
Right.
cocoons and it's
Definitely.
inflatable thing, so it's light. But that's dope. And Molly and the gargoyle returning are really cool. And I don't know if they're trying to like poke at a theme there, but I can't help but speculate. And I
Right.
think that'd be really cool if they went back to that classic like graveyard type of thing. It's just
Yeah.
so Halloweeny.
And so far, all the trailers that they've shown are there's a mausoleum in the back. It's all graves, and it's showing all of these animatronics that have died, right? And we're starting. They're bringing some back, so maybe they're resurrected like a zombie or something. I don't. I got a whole concept of it. These guys don't believe me, but I'm like, what if they brought only re-releases back? But
Wow,
they
I've heard
them or
that
something. That
theory.
so cool.
I've heard that or just I heard a theory of just every prop this year was going to be a new, I mean, an old prop like revamped or something
Right.
in some way. Do you guys have a particular prop that you want to see come back?
Possessed Baby, the one with the stroller, you could push it around. It has great movement.
Pops up.
Yeah, it like just you could walk around. It has a button where you could activate it whenever. It's such a cool prop, so unique. It was 300 back in the day, so I can't imagine what it would be like now.
That's
But
true.
still, I don't care. For something with that much movement, you could just move around. And like you were saying with the Killer Clowns thing, it could match with a costume. It's great. Like for haunts, for instance, as a scare actor prop for the people on like the queue line. Very unique.
Very versatile.
I would agree. That would probably be my pick too. It's just so professional. Having a prop that you can just walk around and do anything with is so cool.
It just looks amazing. It looks very.
It does. Looks really pro.
It was executed amazingly.
I think I've even seen some like YouTube pranksters use it
Yep.
for pranks because it looks so good.
Yep.
For me, it's like it's weird though because I mean, we all know those props that I wish I would have got it that year or what have you, but also at the same time, I'm one of the rare people. I'm assuming rare people that doesn't like the re-releases because if I have the original, then I feel like it's for some reason makes it not as sacred. And I don't know. I get a little weirded out about it. You know, when they did the Uncle Charlie re-release, it was different. And I have the original one, so okay, that one didn't bother me. But the Wacky Mo re-release, it was like it's the same prop. Yeah, it's the same prop. And, you know,
I like what they did with like Little Skelly Bones, where it's just a completely different character. Or well, no, the character's the same, but the thing that character does is so different that it really doesn't matter to those original owners because it's technically a different prop, but it's still got that lovable character that everyone remembers.
Right.
He was a perfect example for that. I really do like him.
So what were your thoughts about some of the little snippets and things that you saw in the trailer? Like there was what was the one that we saw? Not Darling Dolly.
Darling Dolly, yeah.
Oh, was that
have
one
you
of
seen
them?
this? Yeah.
No,
So
I haven't seen that one.
It shows all these gravestones real quick, all within like milliseconds.
Yeah, I saw like Deadly Stalker or something.
Yeah,
Death Stalker.
Death Stalker.
Stalker.
And that one, it's a tombstone. It has a claw like ripping down it, and it says his hunger, and I think it says lies beneath. Right. So I'm thinking it's a werewolf or something. But there's one that says Darling Dolly, and we're trying to understand exactly who she is because her gravestone, she kind of looks like Humpty Dumpty. But she has one eye open and one eye closed. And Tyler, do you remember what the gravestone said?
It said forever changed.
Forever changed, yeah. So I don't know if that one has like my interest is
that now I'm curious about that too because I like the creepy doll vibe.
And did you hear the laughing from the creepy rising doll?
I think so. Yeah, I knew people had wanted that to come back for years, so it was only a matter of time.
Right.
And then Menacing Molly, so I'm like, oh, they're obviously listening.
Yeah, we're gonna have to agree to disagree on Menacing Molly.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'm not a fan of Menacing Molly either, but I know a lot of people are.
Right.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
She's terrible. Not terrible.
I think it's a fine idea. I just don't know if the execution's on point.
I agree.
To me, like there were 3 main ones that everyone wanted to come back. Her, and then Pumpkin Nester, which
Mhm.
I'm also not a crazy fan of. I like it, but it's kind of cartoony.
Yep.
The only one that I actually would legitimately like is the Barnyard Butcher. I
Yeah.
always have liked him. He's very creepy, and
Mhm.
a lot of people wanted him to come back. So we'll see if any of the other ones return.
I'm surprised he hasn't, honestly. There's so much positive feedback about him. Just
Mhm.
that's the main prop I've seen, really. There's a
Yeah.
lot of people who want, like, yeah, like Rising Doll back and stuff, but Barnyard Butcher is one that comes up every time people talk about it.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a smart choice to
And for
re-release.
Pumpkin Nester, Spirit definitely knows that we want him back because
Yeah, they've hinted.
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
That's
And
true.
they'll-
It's only a
Yeah.
matter of time if it's not this year.
Mhm.
Well, and the thing about Barnyard Butcher though is that I think that they would have brought him back if they weren't in this. They've kind of for a few years, and I think they're getting away from it now. But for a few years, they were very cartoony.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
Barnyard Butcher's, I mean, the guy's holding the head.
Right. He's
You know what I
pretty
mean?
he's pretty grotesque. There's no way around it.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
I wish that they would bring back some more terrifying props like
Yeah.
that. I just
Yeah.
don't know how, like, if I'd be holding my breath for it anytime soon.
Yeah, unless they
Yeah.
change if they change like he's holding a lantern or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's Barnyard Farmer.
Yeah, Barnyard
Yeah.
Farmer.
I could see him possibly being an online because they've definitely gotten more
True.
the gore online with online.
That's true.
onlys.
That's true.
Mhm.
That's true. Yeah, I just think that and I know that Spirit, like you said, Spirit is listening.
Mhm.
So they've got to know, like they've heard now for 2, 3, 4 years, like where's the gore?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's the scare? You know?
Yeah.
Right. I even
Mhm.
made that whole video like essay thing where I kind of was like kind of ripping on Spirit a bit, but I still said in the video that I love the company and I
Right.
love what they do. And I even had some people from Spirit after that video like follow up with me and like ask me more questions about what I meant or like what props were in the right direction. So
That's nice.
That's
to
good.
know that they care is like
Right.
that's very reassuring. I
Yeah.
believe them. I've always loved what they do. So I'm looking forward to whatever they bring.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I don't know if so you had mentioned Killer Clowns from Outer Space earlier, how you love it. For the last 2 years, we had done a full Killer Clowns from Outer Space haunt.
Really?
Yeah. And
Because I know you're all into the clown thing.
yeah, but
now
we
it's-
always do a specific theme when it comes to them. So we
Mm.
don't ever go more than 2 years. So for the
Oh.
last 2 years, it was Killer Clowns from Outer Space, and we had like the Big Top Burger and all that stuff in
That's
there, right?
great.
But when it came to your home haunt, I mean, I know that you did home haunts for years. We always set a 2-year max on a theme.
Hmm.
Is that kind of how you did your stuff, or were you one of these folks that kind of was like, this is my home haunt and I might build upon it, but this is going to stay kind of the theme? Or how did you look at it when you were kind of doing it on a yearly basis?
So when I started, my haunts weren't that great. I'm always improving, but they really weren't that great when I first started. So every year was completely random and just different, whatever was on a whim. Because my first year was clowns, and then it was like an asylum, and then it was a theme park, and then it was aliens. I don't remember. I've done a lot of different
Right.
things. It's like been a shotgun approach. But what I found is I have a specific like corner of things that I enjoy, and I kind of used what you guys do, your circus thing, as like a not a template a bit, because I'm like, you guys stay in the clown circus kind of corner.
Right.
My thing is like I don't know, I guess you'd call it the science
Sideshow?
fiction or like zombies, aliens, kind of like that vibe or rustic things. So what I'll do now is I'll keep the props the same, but just kind of change the setting. So last year was a funeral home. Before I was gonna do a like a laboratory. This year is unnamed yet, but they all kind of are like they're different themes, but they have the same type of characters.
Mhm.
And so I can just change their costumes or change the masks on them or whatnot, and that way I don't have to like reinvent the wheel every year, like trying to buy. Oh, I need 5 clowns this year or whatever.
So that's the problem I have, is that it's like, how
Yeah.
many times are we going to reinvent the circus?
Right.
You know, how many times are you going to reinvent the Ferris wheel, right?
Right. Yeah.
But you know, I've especially talking with these guys. These guys are super just their ideas are so out there sometimes that it just works perfectly. And so we've been talking about, you know, you could do a sideshow, you could do this, you
Mm,
could do that, and it's like,
yeah.
and some of that old creepy sideshow stuff, man, that stuff is
It's
like
weird.
weird,
And
super
there
weird.
there are different vibes for even the clown thing.
Oh yeah,
Like I've been to clown haunts where it's like techno clowns where it's like 3D with like black lights
Mhm.
and it's like polka dots. But then I've seen like vaudeville style like freak show kind of vintage clowns. So I mean there's a whole bracket in there. Now with Brick's new thing, you could make a Christmas clown thing if you wanted to.
right.
I mean, or candy clowns. I've seen a lot of stuff like that. You like the possibilities are endless for that, even that niche thing.
Yeah,
I've been running into a similar issue too, because with my haunt, I change up the theme every single year, completely brand new theme. It's never really related. But with my haunt growing and expanding, it's become a big issue financially to just buy brand new stuff to fit that theme.
Yeah.
So I've kind of started to fade more into like a
different
demon
sections.
possession type of
Mm.
vibe. I feel
That's
like
a
that's
good
what I
one.
did. That's what I've done best. So that's what I'm kind of like more sticking towards.
It's a good
Because I've
idea.
experimented with a bunch of different themes. But I feel like that has just been my strongest suit. Um, so that's what I'm
Yeah.
trying for this year. I'm doing a whole demon themed haunt. I'm trying. I came up with a whole brand for my haunt last year with this lab and this doctor called Doctor Phobia, where each year he's gonna create like a different fear. So I'm gonna do a mix of like trying to incorporate all those themes as well in with like a different fear.
Oh, that's a
Yeah,
cool idea. That's
his
cool.
haunt. I went and visited his haunt, and it was I would I was so surprised with how much he was able to put into the section that he had. It just kept going. It kept going. It kept going. It kept going. And I wasn't there on Halloween. Actually, Tyler, I might have been in there November or something. It was
Yeah, it was
after Halloween.
like a week later or something like
Yeah.
that, or a
And
week or two.
even walking around, and it was just us, and he was showing me the effects he did and stuff. It was still
Mhm.
super creepy. Like,
That's cool.
yeah, he
That's how you
super
know you did
talented.
something right.
Oh yeah. Actually, he scared me when I was walking through there too. He turned a corner and I went around. I'm like, where the hell did he go? Then he popped out this way. It was like, all right.
And the
That's
good
one thing I'm really trying to like figure out more with like set design and like the
Mhm.
actual detail of the haunt rather than just buying a ton of different animatronics and just throwing them in.
Right.
Really like get that set design and small little detail that maybe most people won't notice, but it would be noticeable without it.
And
Mhm.
the good thing about your theming is because of that like omniphobia thing, you can basically do any theme and it's not really gonna be limited, which
Right.
is
Yeah,
really nice.
exactly.
And
Yeah,
Haunt Former, you were saying like you keep your characters the same, like the animatronics, but do you have like a favorite theme that you've done for a haunt?
Ooh, I really liked my one last year, which was a funeral parlor. But before that, I did a like an end of the world style thing with aliens, and I had a crashed UFO outside, and like a lot like tubes of green goo. I don't know what's with me and the green goo. I just love the green goo. So
Ninja
I
Turtle fan.
yeah, it was kind of like that with like the toxic waste barrels. So I'd say something in that vicinity will always be like my favorite thing.
Cool.
So, and talking about Brick's clown that he released today,
Yeah,
actually.
congratulations on that, by the way.
Right,
That's
Thanks.
dude.
dope.
Thanks.
And as you said, Savannah, like two things. One, you really did open the door for like home haunters to like get their ideas made. But two, and I didn't even think of this, you also you like bred the inflatable with the animatronic and not the one that's like
Yeah, not like the
Right.
constant
yeah,
fan.
not the constant
Yeah.
fan. Um
It works so well like this.
yeah, that's a great and for thinking on the business end for these companies, inflatables are light. You know,
Right.
That's
you
exactly
inflate
why we
them
did
so
it.
it's it's cheaper for them to ship. I mean,
Yep.
it seems like a
Easily
win-win,
compacted.
Cheaper for them
Yeah.
to
Small
right?
produce too.
bots.
But then
Yeah.
there's so much you could do with it. You could make literally any shape
Right.
with it.
And it can be way bigger. too. Like
Right.
you don't have to worry about blow molded parts. It can be huge.
Yeah,
Right.
it's not going to weigh down the
Exactly.
motors and all that.
Exactly.
Now,
Exactly.
have you? What have your thoughts been that Lowe's has decided to release pneumatic props this year?
That is crazy to me. That first of all, I knew that one of these companies, the more amateur haunt companies, were going to dip their toe into pneumatics. I thought it was going to be Spirit. I didn't know it was
That's what
going to
I
be
thought.
Lowe's.
Right.
You know, how weird is that? So that opens like a whole new thing, really, for home haunters. Because I
yeah.
bought like 4 years ago, I bought an air compressor. I'm like, I'm going to get into pneumatics. Has never touched it. It's still sitting there. Like I wanted to so bad, but I'm like, I just don't have the stuff for it, and you have to like learn how to do it. I mean, Fright Props has some great videos on how to actually like set up like the controllers and stuff to make it work, but I'm like, I just didn't do it for my little garage space.
It's a
But
lot easier to plug something in.
right, it's easier to plug it in and go. But
Right.
I don't know if Lowe's is like being like, here you go, good luck, or if they're like giving you the tools to make it work. I don't know how they're going about this new thing, but I'm
Yeah,
curious.
But one thing that was really smart of them though is if Spirit was to sell a pneumatic prop, be the first, especially the first ones to market for like the home haunter.
Mm,
You're buying the prop, then you're going to another store to get the air compressor if you don't have one. Lowe's, you can get both right there.
it's true.
Air compressor's probably going to fly off the shelf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not
That's
kidding.
true.
That's a smart move on Lowe's
Yeah.
part.
Yeah.
And I mean, like people will be like you were saying, shopping at Spirit, then go to another store. One of those other stores may be Home Depot or Lowe's, where they'll walk into that store and see their Halloween selection.
Right.
Right.
Why'd I spend $400 on this when they got this little cheap Sunstar clown or something over here for $60?
Exactly.
But with Brick developing his line of animatronics, and I'm sure that he said he's dropping 3. He hasn't given us too much information about it. He's been very lips are sealed on it, but I'm sure he's not going to be done and stopping at 3. Have you thought about if you could create an animatronic, what you think that animatronic would be?
Oh gosh, yes, I have. I've thought extensively about this in case it was like landed to me. I think what I would do, and they probably wouldn't get made for this reason, my ideas. I want to do like things that you don't see, like we get a bunch of like zombies and clowns and dolls and
Scarecrows and
scarecrows, those kind of things. I want to do weird different things. I want like a robot with like saw hands, or like a tiki guy, kind of like the Distortions one, or I don't know, just weird things that you couldn't normally get.
something you can put into a haunt that might not match a theme,
Right.
but fit perfectly.
Right. And then if it sells really well, then they'll go, oh, well, maybe we should make more of these pirates, or I don't know, whatever it might be. And then they make a butt ton more.
And that was like last year. Spirit released that Monty, the ape or whatever he is,
Yeah.
which I know is still circus theme, but kind of not, because that's
Right, it was
really a
kinda different.
toy. If you think
Right.
about it, the guy with the cymbals, that's a toy. That's not something you'd see at the circus. So I feel like they're starting to dip their toe, and I'm hoping that this year, because it's the 40th, it's gonna be crazy. And I'm really hoping, and I've been told it's not gonna happen, but I'm hoping that it's BS. I'm hoping that we can get a Jack the Reaper animatronic.
That's what I keep hearing about. I don't know if, because I've seen some stuff about potential Jack the Reaper merch continuing.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to be an animatronic, or like, at least if anything, they could at least do like a hanging prop, like
So
one of those like.
and I know that they're
$40
doing,
ones.
or at least there's been a rumor that they're doing a costume.
Yep.
Yes, yeah, I heard about that.
So it's like,
Yeah.
if they're gonna do it,
If they're
just
gonna
go
do
this
it,
way.
Yeah.
just
It'd
put
be
the
awesome.
costume on a coat hanger. You basically got the prop,
Exactly.
and then just sell it to me. They could do it.
Sell it to me for $499.
Yeah. I've also always had the idea of and this, it sounds kind of stupid when I say it, but a Jack the Reaper zombie baby. I just want to see
That'd be
there's
awesome.
baby Yoda. Let's see baby Jack the Reaper.
And
That'd
they
be
did
so
do
cool.
Young Crouchy last
true.
year, so that might be coming around.
Or they'll do Baby
That'd be awesome.
Crouchy. Who knows?
Oh
Baby
yeah,
Crouchy.
just keep shrinking.
Yeah, you get smaller.
And they got
Yeah.
Creamy Crouchy.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got the Crouchy doll, right? There's a Crouchy doll. I
Yeah,
believe.
there is.
There's actually
Crouchy doll.
there's actually two.
stuffed animal too.
Yeah, stuffed
Really? That's
animal and
right,
one that
that's
you
right.
squeeze and it makes noise.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I do think I'd like seeing that Spirit has started to embrace their characters as almost like mascots. You're seeing like
Yeah.
shirts with hugs or not hugs, shirts with Crouchy and Night Stalker, and I kind of like seeing that. I didn't purchase any of those shirts, but I like seeing them in the store.
Yeah.
And I mean, like that's one thing. Like with the other companies, like Spirit has so many staple animatronics that have just become fan favorites. I mean, Home Depot's got like the 12-foot skeleton, but besides that, there's really nothing that people just always talk about and constantly go
Right.
on and on and on about. Where like having this personality behind them.
Yeah.
I do wonder sometimes. I'm sorry, Brick and I were talking about this last night, and I was like, Jemmy did really good for a long time, then kind of turned to trash for a long time, and now they're starting to like their new Leatherface.
Mhm.
His forearms look super real. His face looks really good.
Yeah, he looks legit.
Yeah, but I was like, man, what would it take to go to like a Sunstar or something and be like, look, take my ideas,
Yeah.
forget these $60 clowns, take my ideas, and we can really turn this thing on its head.
I feel like they
And-
have nothing left to lose. Like
Right. I mean, at this point, it's like how much, and who knows though? They might be making a killing off of those crappy
they,
props.
yeah, they could just because they're
probably
cheap.
are, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It probably costs $4 to make, and they sell them for 40, and that's a pretty good profit.
Right. That's true.
It's crazy. But
They, they get my mom at the store half the time. She's like, "Look, I found this cool prop for your thing." I'm like, "I can't use that. It's a Sunstar." It goes, "Whoa," and it like
has no
color
feet. It
changes.
just has like a weird
yeah,
weird stand,
Yeah,
Christmas
the-
tree stand.
yeah.
It's funny. Yeah, it's like the ghost that goes,
And they always have the same
Scary out
same
tonight. I
motion.
think it's you.
Yeah, it does this, and it has like
Yeah.
rainbow colored eyes. I'm like, why is it rainbow? And it's like, more power to them if they're making bank.
Yeah.
Right.
They're
Yeah.
robbing my grandparents.
It's funny because that's how I feel about like even the ones that Spirit sells, the little props that look like trick or treaters.
Hmm.
I'm like, dude, no, please stop with those. I don't know who buys them, but somebody has to be. It has to be like your
It's those
grandmother.
Facebook moms. It's those Facebook moms.
Yeah.
They go
Mom,
crazy
wrong.
for them.
Like, look, it's a little pumpkin boy and girl, and they're holding a bag.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. I don't get them. I don't get them. But I'm also not really a fan of tabletop props. I don't know about you.
Mhm.
Yeah. I like
Yeah.
the big life sizes.
Yeah, for me, if I have to put it on a table, I feel like it defeats the purpose.
I don't like having to look down at a prop. In a haunt, you're going to be walking right past it. You need to make eye contact or look up.
Or believe it's
See it
real.
face down. Yeah.
Yeah.
You get like a jumping scare clown. The guy's whole body's this big. I'm like, that's an infant.
Mhm.
I'll kick
And-
a baby in the face.
And like you said, the hard thing is about like how do you get people to see it in a haunt? Like I used to collect a bunch of the little tabletop things, and I wanted to use them in haunts, and I'm like, what do I do with it? I remember
Right.
one year I just had stuff sitting on the floor. I'm like,
Mhm.
that's so stupid, like a Jack in the Box on the floor.
Yeah.
And I mean, like,
Wow.
some of them do look really good and like they're cool concepts. I guess they could be nice collector pieces in a way, but like you really can't incorporate them in a haunt. They just don't.
Right. I mean, probably really good starter props.
Yeah,
Right.
that's-
I think
Yeah.
we all had a small tabletop prop when we first
Oh,
started
yeah.
collecting. And this goes for all of you guys. Has running your own haunted house ruined other haunted houses for you like it does for me?
I don't think it ruins it, but it makes it very different. It's hard to get scared from a haunted house
Right.
at all. And I don't think personally, I don't think it ruins it at all. I think it makes it very unique because I recognize stuff and that's really fun for me. But I definitely don't go through a haunt like most people. I'm not like getting jump scared everywhere and I'm super scared going through. I'm just kind of taking it all in, looking at all. The
Yeah,
things.
when I say ruined, what I mean is like I'll walk through a haunted house and I'm like looking at the lighting. Okay,
Yeah,
how did they?
Exactly.
Everybody else, ah! and I'm like looking at how they do that effect.
Yep.
How can I
Try to get some
recreate it at
ideas from
home?
it.
Yeah, really just look at it in a new way now. It's
Yeah.
just a really great way to get inspiration. It's nice to notice that little detail that most people wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really see it in a different light. Like now I go to like Halloween Horror Nights and most people are like waiting to get scared. And I'm looking like, oh wow, that light on that set piece looks really sick. And then they
Yeah.
come out and scare me.
Mhm.
And sometimes they get me, sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually it's when it's not expected. But then I also take that into consideration of like, oh, that's how I can scare people. Like if it can scare me, then it can
That's one
probably
thing I
scare
always
other
think about,
people.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
that's one thing I always get.
Because
when I look at-
I remember going to the Stranger Things haunted house, and it didn't really scare me the whole time. I got to the very end, and I'm like, oh, okay. And I was walking out, and the final room is like it just says exit, and it's just like curtains. Curtain just rips open, and Demigorgon's just up in my face.
That's
Oh,
I
awesome.
screamed. I'm like, oh my gosh! I'm like, it got me.
Yeah, you were
Yeah.
thinking it was over.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah.
it was over.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm like, I don't know if that's a thing, like a fake out ending.
That's a good
That's
scare, yeah,
cool.
that's really
That
good.
actually gives me a really good idea for my
Yeah.
Yeah, because then you put your guard down. You're like, oh, it's over now. Ah,
Yeah.
oh,
Right.
Yeah.
So has the lighting and the effects of running a home haunt helped you with doing the film stuff?
it has a bit. It has a bit in terms of like knowing, I guess, kind of like color, especially like what colors go well together, or like where to place it, or certain things. Like sometimes you don't want to put a light head on something. Like even with my purple light right here, it's like on the side of my face. It gives it like a different depth, or it creates a shadow on this side, or I don't know. There's like a whole lot. I feel like lighting is one of the trickiest, but most important parts of decorating, whether it's for Halloween or whatever, but especially in haunting,
Definitely.
because it really makes or breaks a scene.
Yeah, it really
Mhm.
does. It really does. I always say you can never put red and green next to each other because it looks like Christmas.
Yeah, then it turns into
Bottom line,
Christmas.
you can't do it.
Yeah.
Even here, like I have a blue one, I have a red one. We tried to do green immediately. I'm like, no, we can't do that.
Yeah,
Can't
it
do
just it messes with the feng shui of the haunt.
Yeah, it does. Unless you're going to use Brick's new animatronic.
That's
Sure.
true, unless you do the
Yeah.
Christmas clowns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then that works.
Are you thinking that with Killer Clowns from Outer Space, I imagine, did you get Shorty?
I didn't get Shorty. I know that's pretty shocking. I have
Yeah.
lots of people like, why didn't you get Shorty? The thing about why I didn't get Shorty, but I still want to get. Well, I want to get a Killer Clown. I'm hoping that they
there's a
come
new
out
one
with a
this year?
different one.
That's what I was going to ask. Yeah.
Because Shorty is still a great character, but he's more cutesy. I like the weirder, creepier looking of the clowns bunch.
Yeah.
Spiky or Rudy or even Jumbo. They're all
Yeah.
creepier. But also Shorty, I don't know why it is. He's very short and small, obviously, but he's very wide. And he would take up a huge chunk of my room space to fit him
Yeah.
in here. And I'm like, I'm gonna hold off and see if they make another taller, maybe thinner clown. But if not, I'm gonna have to invest because it's like one of the best movies ever. So
Mhm.
I can't
So-
not.
Right. I wanted to put Clownzilla in our haunt. And so what we did is we bought Mr. Dark a gigantic Trick or Treat Studios Clownzilla mask, and I put it on, and it was too heavy for Mr. Dark. It
Yeah, I
broke
was
him.
gonna say it probably. Oh man.
Broke him. Yeah, I got him fixed, but it
Okay.
broke him. Yeah, it was horrible. But dude, thank you so much for coming on here with us, man. You're an
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
awesome,
Thank you so much.
awesome guest, dude.
I'm
Seriously,
super
we're all
stoked.
honored.
Doing better.
Yeah.
I'm glad I was the first. Now the people coming after me have a big shoe to fill.
That
I'm
is
just kidding.
true.
Yeah,
you got to
that's
step up
very
to
true.
Big Mac, son.
You have to start high. No, but
He was like one of the first people in the community. Now he's our first guest.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Now I'm the last. I'm just kidding.
So, where can people? Obviously you're on YouTube, but where else can they kind of check out some of your stuff, your films, your
Well,
writing? If
yeah.
you're publishing your writing,
Yeah, YouTube obviously is probably the best place, and social media like Instagram, Facebook. If you're a mom, maybe you can probably find me on there. You can find me. Yeah, I do publish I have it here. Shameless plug. It's called Camuffins. It's my horror anthology book, so it's kind of like Creep Show, I guess.
Yeah.
Like many mini stories. Say that 10 times fast. And it's on Amazon. There's a link in all the descriptions of my videos too.
And we'll make sure to add a link in our description as well.
Yeah, and if you live in Florida, check out Fearville, which will be in Pinellas County, Florida, in October with me and Jaden's videos. So yeah,
Awesome.
That's cool. Thank you so much, dude. It was a pleasure having you. We're truly honored.
Bring me back anytime.
Right on.
Take me out of the vault and talk about other creepy stuff.
Thank you so much, dude. Everybody else out there, thank you so much for tuning into the podcast. I'm Savannah.
I'm Brick Thunder.
I'm Tyler G.
I'm Hop Warmer.
And we'll catch you on the next episode next Sunday. See.
Next Sunday, we'll be back.